Coming up next here at Silverstone on the international circuits will be the Laser Tools Pre-93 touring cars and the Berkshire Jag Components Jaguar Challenge, a combined grid, big grid indeed. We should be seeing nearly 40 cars. Some minis just being towed in there, one drive with a bit of work to do ahead of tomorrow. No serious damage by the look of it though. Ian Waterhouse caught up with a couple of the drivers from our next race down in the paddock a little earlier on, and we can hear from them now.
Right, here we are. We've actually come to the paddock this time in the blazing sunshine. It's almost time for the Jaguar and Pre-93, so we thought we'd grab a quick word with Colin Philpott. I haven't seen Colin for ages. Colin, quick word if we can. I was just saying it feels like an eternity since I've last seen you.
Yeah, it's not been doing a lot of winning, have I?
That might change today though, huh?
Yeah, let's hope so. Had a slow puncher in qualifying and it seemed a bit slippy to start with, and sure enough it got even worse. Yeah. I thought definitely something wrong, so I'm really lucky with, I'm really pleased with the position I got really.
I mean, you're running obviously with the Pre-93s and Jags running together. Does that have an impact?
Not really, I like chasing them BMWs. They're good to chase really.
Now, you know I've got a bit of a thing for Jaguars. Tell me what is underneath this bonnet. How many horses are we going for?
Little over 300. And yeah, it's going good. Still the 4 litre straight 6 I'm using. It does sound nice, yeah. It's Powerbell powered, see?
Exactly, give it a plug. And same question as always, when are you going to let me take it out for a drive?
Whenever you're ready.
Really? Are you mad?
You can have a go.
You've got that on camera, there we go.
Yeah.
Colin, thanks so much, best of luck, and we'll no doubt we'll catch up as well. Almost time to get going for the race, so I'm going to hand back to a commentator, David.
Good to hear from Colin Philpott there. Good to have him back. We didn't see him last year in the Jaguar Challenge. He's qualified 8th overall on this combined grid and 2nd of the Jaguars, but it's BMWs all the way at the front of the grid from the Pre-93 touring car, supported by Laser Tools. We'll have a quick look at the leading runners on this grid. Dave Griffin in the Diet Coke BMW, familiar car from the last couple of years. The Australian-born driver has put his car on pole. And alongside him will be Andy Cripps, number 33, the man from Southampton, with his BMW M3. Another pair of M3s on row 2, the reigning Pre-93 champion, Ian Bauer, will start on the 2nd row, alongside the number 51 of Mike Dugdale. Then on row 3 we've got number 9 Graham Myers and number 7 Arthur Forster, ex-BTCC driver a few years ago, with his E30 M3. Looking forward to seeing that car out. A couple of cars, by the look of it, just being recovered from the outside of Abbey down there, so there'll be a slight pause before the race gets underway. Then we've got the first of the Jags. They're headed up by number 4, Tom Robinson, with his supercharged XJR6. Saw him take a few wins last year. Listen for the whine of the supercharger on that very impressively engineered machine. One of only 100 XJR6s ever built with a manual gearbox, we're told. Tom is the managing director of Swallows Racing, which prepares that and several other cars, and his younger brother Jack will be making his debut in the Jags as well today. He's down in Class A, Tom is in Class D. The way the Jaguar Challenge works is Class A is for standard cars, and then it works through the classes A, B, C, D, depending on how modified they are. The full race modified cars are in Class D, the most powerful ones. In the Pre-93 touring cars, it's all dependent on engine capacity. Biggest cars in Class A, and Class B and C are mainly BMWs, and Class D for the slightly smaller cars, which we'll see out very shortly. Row 5 of the grid, going back to the lineup, Robert Crisell will start from row 5 in his BMW alongside the Jag of Tom Butterfield. Good to have him back out. Not seen Tom out in his XJS for a while. And on row 6 it should be David Howard. Now we saw him have a bit of an incident in the last race. He ended up in the gravel at Club Corner in the Pre-83 touring cars. Now he is in a Jaguar, but he's not in the Jaguar Challenge. He's in Pre-93 touring cars. We've actually got a couple of drivers in this race who are racing in both championships. So I'll have to wait and see how that's going to work out regarding the classifications. One of them is Mike Seaborn, the reigning Jaguar champion. Won it in his Castrol liveried XJ40 last year, but he's got a new car for this year, the ex-Gale Hill XJS. He's had very little testing in that car, only finished it in time for this weekend. Look at that, 2 minis being towed side by side by the recovery vehicle. That's quite impressive. So Mike Seaborn, new car, barely tested, and he's put it on the 6th row of the grid. Defending his title, he's in Class B of the Jaguar Challenge. Row 7 of the grid will be number 77 Tom Lenthal in his XJS. Sharing that car with newcomer James Wall this weekend. Tom will be competing in today's race, and tomorrow James Wall will take over the XJS. Ian Knight is alongside him, number 666 in his VW Golf GTI. Row 8, 2 more Jags. Michael Holtz at number 11 with his X300, alongside Derek Pearce, the elder statesman of the Jaguar Championship, in his Jaguar XK. Been racing since 1981, he tells us. Won the championship some 20 years ago, the Jaguar Challenge, in his Mark II Jaguar that he still races today. The 9th row, Tim Morant, number 62. He's in his lovely Daimler Series 1 XJ6. Bought that as a road car some 10 years ago. Finished in a beautiful Castrol livery. And alongside another very experienced Jagman, 97 Lawrence Kopok with his XJS. Completing the top 20 on the grid, we have number 54 Rick Walker with his XJS, the lean green racing machine, as his car is known. He starts alongside Byron Aldous. He tells us competing in his first race since 2002 in his VW Corrado. So that's the leading runners on the grid for our next race. Further back on the grid, we've got 162 Andy Gay, BMW 318, alongside Simon Lewis, Jaguar veteran in his XJ6. Cliff Ryan's out there with his XJRS in Class D, starts alongside Michael Atkinson, number 92, with his X300. Look out for Andy Sheraton, the Laser Tools BMW E30, lives just down the road from Cadwell Park in Lincolnshire, won the Class Championship, Class D of the Pre-93s last season, the man who brought Laser Tools to this championship. Starts alongside David Ringham in his Jag, number 45, with his XJS. Dean Sewell, number 40, with his XJ6, I think that's the car with the St George's Cross livery, alongside young Jack Robinson on his debut on row 14. Nick Strong's out in this race as well. He swapped from his Capri into his XJS, starting alongside Damien Gray, number 88. This race at Castle Combe in their Saloon Car Championship. He's got the XJ40 liveried similarly to the old Jaguar Formula 1 cars of the early 2000s. Behind them, Simon Dunford, number 5, with his XJS in Class A. Alongside him is number 50, Matthew Davis. Now, you may remember Matthew Davis from the Silverstone season opener last season for the Jaguars. Unfortunately, he stalled on the grid, and Stuart Kay's Ford Capri ploughed into the back of the Jaguar, which then unfortunately caught fire. But thankfully, Matthew Davis's XJR6 is repaired. It's back out, and he's ready to race today. Matthew, the managing director of the Jaguar Daimler Heritage Trust, so he'll be pleased to see so many cars here today. Well, here comes the grid, out behind the safety car. In pole position it is David Griffin in the Diet Coke BMW, replica of the cars that raced in the Australian Touring Car Championship of the 1990s. There are the leading Jags, Robinson and Philpott. In behind them, we have got Robert Crisell's BMW. Good to have Tom Butterfield back, as we said. Didn't see if David Howard was there. We'll have to confirm as they come down the Hanger Straights. Hopefully we're not missing anybody after qualifying. There's the Series 1 XJ6 of Simon Lewis. Andy Sheraton is there. The Laser Tools BMW E30. Looks as though, unfortunately, Arthur Forster is not there with his BMW. He should be on the 3rd row alongside Graham Myers. Graham's there, the orange car, the Jägermeister livery. But Arthur Forster looks like he's had a problem after qualifying. He's not there. .162 Andy Gay is there, the grey and orange BMW. Simon Lewis and the yellow Series 1. You can tell the Series 1 by its larger grille. The Diet Coke livery made famous by the likes of Paul Morris and Jeff Brabham when Australia had its Super Touring series. There are the leading Jaguars. The Fina livery quite famous as well. The likes of Jürgen Winkelhock raced that livery. Robert Crizel driving today. Joachim Winkelhock, Steve Soper and so on appeared in the Schnitzer Fina cars. There's Derek Pearce in his XK8. 73 years young and still going strong. Rick Walker, number 54. In the Jaguar Formula 1 green, and just ahead of him Tim Morant there, the Castrol car. There's number 30, Byron Aldous, first race for some 20 years. Used to race in the Slick 50 Road Saloon Series with the Golf. 92 is Michael Atkinson. Cliff Ryan in the 144. 45, David Ringham. Two separate championships once again. A new sponsor for the Jaguar Series this year, Berkshire Jag Components. Look out for the 156 car further back as well. Andrew Harper, that's the first diesel Jaguar to appear in this series. An XJ V6 turbo diesel, nearly 300 horsepower from that car. He's towards the back of the grid. I didn't see him come round, so I hope he's there. It's quite a famous livery on that car as well. It's finished in the old silk cut livery made so famous by the Jaguars at Le Mans in the 1980s and early 90s, the purple and white livery. Let's see if we can see him towards the back. There's Jack Robinson in his XJ40, number 14. Nick Strong, number 32, the blue XJS. There is the 156, Andrew Harper with the silk cut livery. Absolutely stunning. Let's see how that diesel powered car goes from towards the back. Andrew Harper, owner of Auto Reserve Parts, Jaguar parts specialist based in Derbyshire. Tells his son Thomas is looking forward to racing Jaguars when he's old enough as well. Races in Honda Cadet karts at the moment. Look out also for James Ram. Didn't have the best qualifying, the former Jaguar champion. That's the grey and orange XJS that you can see at the back there. Struggled in qualifying. Watch for him coming through. Sponsored the Jaguar Championship a few years ago through his business Comsec Investigations. Andrew Maynard, 63 in the XJ40. That, I think, is the car that Mike Seaborn raced last season, the Castrol XJ40. Andrew Maynard, newcomer this year. He's at the back. Doesn't look like we've got Stephen Dowell, unfortunately. Green flag waves at the back of the field then. Pre-93 touring cars and the Jaguar Challenge. Getting ready to race over 15 minutes. The red lights are on. They go out now and away we go down towards the first corner. Good start by the 33 BMW of Andy Cripps. Not the best of starts by David Griffin in the Diet Coke car. Mike Dugdale coming through into second place. The swarm of BMWs lead the Jaguars into the first corner. Are they all going to make it round okay? Looks like they are. It is Andy Cripps, number 33, the man from Hampshire, who leads the way. Mike Dugdale in second place. Griffin is third. And then we've got Ian Bauer in the Castrol BMW, the old CBM colours from the Italian Super Turismo Championship in fourth position. David Griffin up the inside on Cripps has lost out there. Bauer sideways, nearly lost it there, the number 90 car. And Andy Cripps has dropped back. He must have made a mistake coming out into the link there. And he's down to third. It's Griffin back into the lead then. Dugdale second. Third is Cripps, and then here comes the first of the Jaguars. It is Tom Robinson in the supercharged XJR6, side by side with Graham Myers in the orange BMW. Then it's Bauer. There's Colin Philpott making his return in the 67 Jaguar. We heard from him earlier. And following on behind him is Tom Lenthal. The novice cross on the back of that car is for his racing partner James Ward, who will be out tomorrow. In the club, and Ian Bauer's all over the place in that number 90 car, but he makes the move there on the number 9 of Graham Myers, the Jägermeister car. Ian Bauer's driving like he's in a drifting competition, not a race. The reigning pre-93 champion. But it is Griffin who leads the way. Didn't make the best of starts, but he's fought back as Cripps went from first to third on the first lap. Tom Lenthal in the third of the Jaguars there, chased by the number 17. That's Tom Butterfield on his return to racing. Griffin leads the way. Born in Australia, hence his Australian tribute car, now lives in Lincolnshire. He's been a star of Classic Thunder over the last few years as well. We'll see him out in that race later on. Mike Dugdale in second place. Then it's Cripps, Bauer, Robinson, Myers, Philpott. Then the battling Jags of Butterfield and Tom Lenthal. Derek Pearce, Lenthal's running mate in behind them, and then Michael Holt. So the Jaguars starting to overlap with the BMWs now. Cripps has a look up the inside into Stowe Corner. Robinson on the outside there stays ahead of Ian Bauer, who's back up the inside. We know Bauer's a bit tail happy. Graham Myers in behind. Colin Philpott is next. They start to settle themselves down now. This is the battle for second place. Dugdale and Cripps, they've raced together in various saloon series, these two, over the years, mainly down at Brands Hatch in the early echelons of their career. As Bauer again, so look at the way he's throwing that BMW around. Just how Emanuele Naspetti would have driven them in period in the Italian Championship, the cars in those colours. He's got Robinson ahead of him. He's determined to beat the Jags here, isn't he? But Graham Myers has got round the outside there. Bauer won't like that, and Myers gets ahead of him. There go the leaders. BMWs 1, 2 and 3. Then that awesome sounding Jag of Tom Robinson as Myers up the inside. What is Ian Bauer doing here? He's got something wrong with the setup of that car. I think it shouldn't be sliding around that much. Big lock up as well from Michael Holtz, the number 11, in the Eden sponsored car. Runs an office furniture business, Michael Holtz, the lime green and grey Jaguar. He nearly lost it there. There goes David Griffin. Dugdale under pressure from Cripps for second, then Myers fourth, Robinson is fifth, and Bauer's down to seventh now after his escapades behind Colin Philpott's XJS. Here the wide of the supercharger from the number 4 of Tom Robinson, the XJR6, featured on the cover of Jaguar World magazine recently, the Swallows racing team. Chasing now Graham Myers, famous Jägermeister livery. Made so famous on BMWs and other cars in the DTM in Germany. Has everybody got round the opening laps? Okay, it looks like it. It's 33 cars running. One car we haven't mentioned is Jamie Sturgis towards the back of the field. The man we normally see in TCR machinery, who's been a BMW M535 today. I did spot that car on the grid, didn't get a chance to mention it. Here comes Ian Bauer fighting back up the inside, attacking Colin Philpott. As he got through there on the exit, we look further back. Tim Morant under fire from Rick Walker. A whole line of Jaguars here. Andy Sheraton attacking Byron Aldous in the Corrado. We've seen Michael Sheraton, Andy's son, of course, in his Ford Anglia over the last couple of years as well, but not out this weekend. That's for one of the Formula One teams, so presumably out in the Middle East at the moment. They have had a change further forward among the BMWs. Yes, Andy Cripps has got through on the run up the Vale into Club Corner into second position, followed by Mike Dugdale. Now Cripps going a bit sideways there. Through to complete another lap, just under 10 minutes to go, so we're just over a third of the way through this race for the Laser Tools Pre-93 touring cars and the Jaguar Challenge. Ian Bauer challenging a Jaguar and going through there past Tom Robinson, and this could leave Robinson prey to Colin Philpott in the battle for the lead of the Jaguars. They are in different classes as well. It's Colin Philpott in Class C of the Jags and Robinson in Class D. Class B is being led by Derek Pierce for the Jaguars, and Class A further back by Tim Morant in the other Castrol car. Pre-93 is led by Griffin ahead of Cripps and Dugdale, the 3 BMWs all in Class B. Now battle is joined in, the Jaguars, look at this, Colin Philpott's all over the back of Tom Robinson. They are in different classes, but there's overall pride at stake here in the Berkshire Jag Components Jaguar Challenge. First race with their new sponsor. Wonder what Sir William Lyons, the founder of Jaguar, would say if he saw his beautiful machines being driven like this. XJS, of course, very well known in European touring cars in the 80s, the Tom Walkinshaw run cars in particular. Philpott on his return wants a victory. He's closing on Tom Robinson. Battling for the lead of the Jags here, so fight further back. We've got iconic liveries abounding here. We've got the Laser Tools colours, we've got Castrol colours, the Jaguar F1 livery and the Silk Cut Jaguar in there as well. Big Strong there chasing the rather smoky Series 1, number 40. That's Dean Sewell. Looks like he's got a problem. The St George's Cross liveried Series 1 XJ6. Andy Sheraton just ahead. There we've got Michael Atkinson in the X300, effectively a Series 5 XJ6, the number 92 car. There's definitely possibly some fluid leaking there from the number 40. Charging around the outside there is one of the BMWs attacking Andrew Harper's silk-cut Jaguar, the diesel-powered machine. Bit of smoke from Tim Morant as well, and he's leading his class. I hope it's not dropping Castrol out of it. He's sliding all over the place. Look at that. Yes, I think he might be leaking a little bit of his sponsor's product there. There's definitely some oil being dropped. This car's sliding everywhere. Treble 6 there, the Golf of Ian Knight, founder of Race Truck, maker of race transporters. Lawrence Coppock behind him, then Rick Walker. But still your leader is David Griffin. He's just done the fastest lap of the race, 1:15.396. He leads Andy Cripps by over 5 seconds. Just ahead of Mike Dugdale. There's a good scrap going on between those two for second. Fourth is Ian Bauer. He's got back ahead of Graham Myers now. Tom Robinson sixth, leads the Jags ahead of Phil Potts. Then James Ram, we said to look for him coming through the field, is up into 8th position. Problems in qualifying. Tom Lenthal down to 9th, and Tom Butterfield rounds out the top 10. Cliff Ryan sideways there in the XJRS. He's got David Ringham in the Powerbell XJS behind him. This is great stuff. The Big Cats unleashed for their first race of the year. Just over 6 minutes of the race to go. Still your leader is David Griffin in the Diet Coke BMW. Hard to know where to look in these multi-class, multi-championship grids. Tim Morant continues on his way in the Series 1 Daimler. See a bit of smoke there. Not slowing him down though. Is he still leading his class? Yes, he is, leading Jaguar's Class A. Cliff Ryan monstering with Byron Aldous in the Corrado there. Side-by-side XJS is Lawrence Coppock, the Oxfordshire driver, and Rick Walker, number 54. Round the outside goes the lean green racing machine, as he calls it. Races purely for fun. Rick Walker always enjoys racing his XJS. There's a white flag being waved there by one of the marshals. That means slow car on the circuit, so somebody has slowed down. Tim Morant just behind there. Let's see who that was. There goes Ian Bauer. He's pulled clear of Graham Myers for 4th place now. And Tom Robinson has pulled away. Where's Colin Philpott gone? Where is Philpott? Did he come through on the last lap? Yes, but he's dropped back from Tom Robinson now. So what has happened to Colin Philpott? Has he got a problem? There's Mike Dugdale. He's dropped away from the 2nd place man, little Andy Cripps. Here's a scrap further back. We have a replay. What's happened here? David Ringham and Cliff Ryan in their Jags fighting it out. David Ringham opposite lock, slides one way, Ryan goes the other. Look out, Byron Aldous, he just misses them as David Ringham spins. Dicey moment there at club, and somebody off. That's Matthew Davis, the number 50 car. That's on the outside of club corner, I think, in the Swallows Racing XJR6. Well, that car was involved in a start line collision in this corresponding race last year, and this year he has sadly ended up in the gravel. Silverstone, not a happy hunting ground for Matt Davis, sadly. And another spin in the background. That's David Ringham again. A spun coming out of the link there. So hopefully he can get going again. David Ringham, 2 spins within a lap. By the look of things. There's Robinson. Tom Robinson still leads the Jags. But Colin Philpott has dropped quite considerably off the pace. There he is. There's something amiss with that 67 Jaguar, and he's being chased by James Ram, who's sliding about all over the place. There's definitely some fluid gone down on the circuit, I reckon, because there's cars sliding, skidding and spinning everywhere. This is the battle for 2nd in the Jaguar, as James Ram, a former champion, Colin Philpott's a former champion as well, being chased down for 2nd overall. Ram is in Class D, the same class as Tom Robinson. That car in the old Motul colours, made famous in the 80s. Coming into the closing stages, just over 3 minutes of the race to go. There's a green flag waving there in the background. That's because there's yellow flags at club for Matthew Davis's car. Well, still your overall leader is David Griffin. He's lapping in the 1:18s when his fastest lap of the race was a 1:14.9. So, yeah, the lap speeds have eased off, possibly because of a slippery track. There's the leader. He's heavy in back marker traffic, David Griffin. Didn't make the best of starts, but fall back into the lead at the end of lap 1. Now, we should get a couple more laps out of this. He's coming up to lap Simon Lewis in the Series 1 XJ6. Simon Lewis is currently running further down the order in about 17th place. Dean Sewell, number 40, that's a bit of smoke seems to have calmed down now. There's Jack Robinson, brother of Tom, who's leading the Jags. Giving a good account of himself on his debut. 63 of Andrew Maynard is lapped, another Jaguar debutant in the XJ40. I think we have a red flag, the pack's slowing down. Yes, red flags. So we have a red flag with just under 2 minutes to go. That will probably mean the race concludes early. Now, I assume that's either because of Matt Davis's car off at Club or because of a slippery track. That could be the reason. But I would imagine that's going to be race called. And if so, that will be a win for David Griffin, and Tom Robinson will win the Jaguar Challenge. Here's a replay from Club Corner. There goes the leader, David Griffin, charging past the back markers, and there goes Matthew Davis, spinning into the gravel, nobody near him, beached in the gravel on the edge of the circuit, dangerous position, so the red flags came out, and we have got red and checkered flags, so that is end of race. Red and checkered flags coming up on the timing screen anyway. Can't see a checkered flag there, but the cars are heading back into the pits, so with just under 2 minutes of the race to go, it looks like that is the conclusion of the Laser Tools Pre-93 Touring Cars and the Berkshire Jag Components Jaguar Challenge. Yes, the result taken back to the end of lap 9, so it's a win for David Griffin in his BMW, second for the similar amount of Andy Cripps, and completing an all top 5 for BMWs, Mike Dugdale third, Ian Bauer, the reigning champion, fourth, and Graham Myers fifth, all in the same class as well. Sixth overall, and the winner of the Jaguars, Tom Robinson in the XJR6. Colin Philpott, despite his pace slowing as the race went on, still takes 7th overall and second of the Jags. And from towards the back of the grid, James Ram coming through for 8th. Good drive by him. Tom Lenthal in his Jaguar XJS was 9th, and Tom Butterfield on his return, rounding out the top 10. Ahead of Derek Pierce, he wins Jaguar Class B. Other class winners, Pre-93 Class C, that went to Ian Knight in number treble 6, the VW Golf. Further down the order, Tim Morant won Jaguar Class A despite emitting that little bit of smoke as the race went on in the Castrol liveried car. Byron Aldous crowns his return to racing by winning Class D of the Pre-93s in the Corrado. And any other classes further down the order? That's all the class winners concluded. Only a couple of retirements from that race. We lost number 145 Rob Crisell in the BMW early on, and of course Matthew Davis into the gravel. Full credit to our newcomers as well, from the Jags, Andrew Maynard and Andrew Harper making the finish in their first races. And we can hand down to Parc Fermé with Ian Waterhouse very shortly to hear from some of the drivers.
Right, welcome down to Parc Fermé, everybody. We never want to end a race under red flag, but it was the safest thing to do. But somebody who is not too bothered about that and looked like he had the race under control anyway, David Griffin. G'day, David, how are you?
Hello, Ian, I'm good, how are you?
Not too bad. Wish I had hair like you, actually.
It has its benefits and it has some not.
David, it looked, I mean, you got away, and it's never easy. But you looked like you had it under control no matter what.
Yeah, well, I got my trademark bad start and had to do a bit of searching in the first lap. And then I got out and got a good rhythm going, and the car's brilliant. They've done some great work on it over the winter. And then caught the Jaguar asteroid belt.
The asteroid belt, yeah, we will go find it.
There's a couple of smoke screens and a bit of all around.
It makes some noise, doesn't it, that, Jack? Can you hear it yourself when you're in
Oh,
this?
you can, you really can. So behind me. No, really good fun. Really good fun. Good bunch of guys to drive with. Great day for it.
Great way to start the season, huh?
Yeah, superb.
Cheers, David.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
talking to us. Really, really do appreciate it. We wanted to find that asteroid belt as well. I don't know if it's actually in yet because the red flag things have perhaps been confused a little bit. Let's go have a quick chat with Andrew Maynard here. How was that out there?
Yes, exciting.
Exciting. We never like to end under a red flag, do we? But it is motorsport. It does happen. It just looks very crowded.
Well, it was crowded. It's kind of a bit of a new one because it's my first race in a car I've never driven on a track I haven't driven. So
Wow, that's Baptisms of Fire, I think that's called.
no fire, just a bit more excitement than I anticipated earlier on. But yeah, great, fantastic.
Good. I'm really glad you enjoyed it.
On the warm side.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll let you go anyway. Try and cool off. There we go. The asteroid belt, I don't think, unfortunately, is. Oh, it's over there. Come with me. If we can stay with us, let's go. Let's go see if we can find it. Hello. Here we go. This man over here. I want to have a quick chat with him. If you haven't heard this car, how you doing, buddy? You all right? It's great to see you again.
Cheers.
I was just saying, you and Dave with your Jag.
Yeah, it's my first. Really, but yeah, no, I was buzzing, loved it. Yeah, so it was great fun.
Is it quite a good place to come for the first time out, really, Silverstone? Because I spoke to a few drivers, you can get away with the odd mistakes. It's so
Yeah,
wide.
exactly that. There's a lot of runoff here, so yeah, you can really push it on the brakes to try and find your limits, really. So it's yeah, it's a really good place, basically.
Fantastic. Congratulations anyway, well done. Great to see you and great to chat. Right, the action is going to come thick and fast. There's almost going to be no time to breathe here at Silverstone, so I'm going to hand back to your commentator, Dave Goddard, to tell you what's coming up next.
Apologies for the slight loss of picture there momentarily during that interview, but good to hear from a few of our drivers.